Welcome to Business Over Beer, where entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people passionate about what they do bring us their stories and their favorite beer. Hosted by Ben Surratt, Jonathan Kaler, and Jason Knope, it's time to get down to business and drink some beer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Over Beer. I am your co-host, the award-losing co-host, Ben Surratt, and we are live here at Fortside, and I'm looking at my homie, my homeboy, the terror of power,
every time,
Mr. Jonathan Kaler. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Benjamin. Oh, man, I'm so excited. We are at Fortside, one of my favorite brewers, now the Great American Beer Festival gold medalist.
Woo!
Fortside.
Bronze.
Bronze.
Okay, whatever.
Let me try that again. The Great American Beer Festival bronze medal winner. I heard a rumor that we may get a glimpse of that beer.
Dude, that would be awesome.
So I am so excited to introduce my very good friend. We're all out of order here because we're not at our normal place.
I know.
So I actually have to look directly at him today. The glare that's coming off of the
disturbing.
head
Is it not?
is really, really hot tonight. So I'm digging it. Jason Knope, I am down with the KNOPP as
Yeah,
usual.
you know me.
Welcome back to the program, my friend. How you feeling
Thank
tonight?
you. I am feeling fantastic. My belly is full of some cheeseburger tacos from the Taco Spaceship.
That was so good.
Man. And I just realized our friend Mohammed is here.
A lot of friends here.
Mo in the house.
So, who are we interviewing today? We're interviewing a couple people.
We have two interviews lined up. So we have got Elliott Sutherland from Fortside. Elliott.
How's it going, everybody?
Oh man, thank you so much for being here. So what's your official title here at Fortside?
My official title is Beer Ambassador.
Beer ambassador.
Yeah.
What does a beer ambassador do?
You know, I'm a beer ambassador to the world. I bring out the joy and love of our beer to the rest of the world. That's my job.
I love it, man.
I like
I
that,
love
too.
it.
I dig that. How long have you been with Fortside?
Just about 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just about 4 years.
Yeah.
And how long has Fortside been in existence?
Just over 4 years.
So you've been around just about from the beginning then, huh?
Yeah. Shortly after they got started, I got to be here and be a part of it all.
That's awesome. So Mike DeFabio, who's the founder, how did you get hooked up with him? How did you end up here at Fortside?
So Mike and Mark had put the word out on the street that they were looking for a beer tender to work back here behind the bar serving beers. And I heard about it and was kind of excited about working in a brewery instead of a bar and moving around a little bit. And I had done some sales previously before being a bar manager for a lot of years. And so I decided to print out a sales resume and a bartending resume. And I came in and handed that in to Mark. And I said, oh, sorry, that was my sales resume. And he's like, actually, we're looking for that too. So I gave him one of each of resumes and kind of got hired on for two different jobs at the same time.
So you do both?
I did. Starting out, I got to do both.
You
I
did.
was back here behind the bar a couple nights a week and then was out in the field selling beer to bars and restaurants around town for a couple of nights or a couple of days a week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, explain to me what Beer Strong is. Not just the name, like the hashtag, but what the meaning behind Beer Strong is.
Basically, the meaning behind it is that our one goal here at Fortside, besides making delicious beer that everybody enjoys, is strengthening craft beer culture. And originally that was just strengthening craft beer culture here in Southwest Washington. And now we've built it out to be strengthening craft beer culture in all of Oregon, all of Washington, the Northwest, the world next, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I read an article today about sort of the rivalry between Southwest Washington and Oregon. But as Vancouver's really built up its own identity, and there's been a lot of crossover between between the Portland side, the Oregon side, and the Washington side. Has that rivalry sort of dissipated, or is there still a friendly rivalry between the two sides of the river?
I think friendly rivalry is definitely the right words for it. We do a brew fest where it's called Brewing Bridges, and we actually collab with somebody from the North Bank here in Vancouver area, collabs with somebody from the Portland area, and they make a beer together. And then we have a big brew fest where everybody comes and tries a beer made by somebody from the 503 and somebody from the 360 here.
That's awesome. I actually went to the Brewing Bridges this year. It was fantastic. Is that always part of the North Bank Beer Week?
So this was our second annual, and it's a great success. Last year was just as fun. I don't see it going anywhere, so I think it's now a staple and a part of the North Bank Beer Week and every year.
That's awesome. Who did you collab with this year? What beer did you guys brew?
This year we collabed with. Dang it! Now you're gonna put me on the spot.
That's my
question,
job,
right? That is actually your job. I want to say so. The first year was Ex Novo. Last year we did Ex Novo. We did a pink lemonade project that helped out the Pink Foundation, the Cancer Foundation here in the area, and that was really cool. And then this year, I'm gonna have to look it up. Honestly, we've done so many collabs, lately.
You know what I do remember is that.
Please, if you can remember.
No, I don't remember that, but I do remember your the Mexican lager that you made for Taco Fest.
Oh yeah,
that was delicious.
Yeah, they made some good Mexican lagers. In fact, shortly after I just got started here, there was, and the festival is no more, I don't think, but it was called Weird Beers on the River, and we made a beer that was a Mexican lager, but it was a chips and salsa lager. So it had a little bit of salsa flavor in the background, kind of a tapatio with some like salty tortilla chip on top of, a real nice, clean Mexican lager.
That's
It was phenomenal.
Sounds delicious.
That does sound delicious.
It was. It was better than it should have been for sure.
That beer strong philosophy. I mean, it's even back here. Look, they got drink everyone's beer and all the different people that.
Well, and that's why I brought it up. I mean, that's why I brought that up. I mean, it's at Business Over Beer where. We want to talk about the business. We want to talk about businesses and all that stuff. But it's also a celebration of craft brew and craft beer. And just for our listeners, can you just give an example of, say, your Orange Whip? What it took to create that and where it is now? Can you, go through that process a little bit? I know it's long, but just kind of a 30-second.
No, it was about 3 years ago, and the hazies were just kind of starting to take off. We decided to jump on the haze craze while it was hot, and we made the beer, and we were passing it all around, trying to come up with some names. And Mark, the other founder with Mike, he spent a lot of time in Chicago, lived there for quite a while, and so he just said, "Well, how about Orange Whip?" And we're kind of like, "Well, what's that mean?" And he said, that it's that candid line from Blues Brothers that John Candy just throws out there. And he says, "Who wants an Orange Whip? Orange Whip, Orange Whip, 3 Orange Whips." And apparently that just means beer in Chicago. I mean, you could be sitting around drinking a pitcher of Coors Light, and then you're about out and getting up to get everybody one, and that's what you say. So
I love it.
It went nicely with our hazy IPA, which is kind of bridged the gap, as far as I can see, between IPA drinkers that say they could drink it all day long in the sun, and then other people that say that's the first IPA they kind of like because it's not punchy in your face, bitter, piney. It's more fruit forward with a little bit of dry hoppy finish to bring it back for more.
I agree. I totally agree.
It's so good.
It's solid, man.
So all this talk about beer.
Yeah. I'm getting thirsty, guys.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty.
Elliott, this is the Business Over Beer podcast.
Right.
So we always ask our guests to bring a beer, and you have a plethora of beers to choose from. So I'm hopeful that you brought a beer. Did you bring a beer for us today?
We definitely brought you a beer.
Awesome.
Yes!
Why don't you talk about the beer that you brought for us?
So today's beer that I brought is 2019 GABF bronze medal winning Palisade 2.
Woo!
Yeah. I figure, we finally got a GABF medal, and we should show it off a little.
Let's
you
do
guys
it.
try this out.
Let's do it.
Let's pour it.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah, let's do a
Cheers.
cheers here.
So this is definitely an interesting beer.
So talk about the style. It's like, I mean, it's almost, and I might be way off because I don't drink a lot of these, but it's like a wheat beer. It almost is like a Weiss beer.
You know, you get all kinds of things from it. It's really interesting. It's got notes of, you know, a little bit of everything all over the place. But it's our second Palisade series beer, and it features 2 traditional Belgian Trappist yeast strains, both heavy and fruity esters and spicy phenolics. These flavors interplay with earthy, funky, grounded notes of 2 farmhouse-style yeast strains mingling with wild Brett. Fermented and conditioned in oak barrels for a satiating mouthfeel and a balancing tannic note.
I was going to say, it's not like dry, but it's not full-bodied either. You know what I'm saying? It is well balanced.
So the metal itself was in the category of specialty saisons. So it is a saison,
yeah. Gotcha.
but then
My
barrel
goodness.
fermented and also bottle conditioned with brettanomyces.
It's really good.
Normally with the Brett, it gets it's that farmhouse funk, isn't it? Isn't that what the Brett usually gives it?
Right. Well, you got a lot of that, but sitting on that barrel, man, it gives it all kinds of delicious
it's really
characters.
mellowed out. It is. It's spicy and fruity.
Yep.
It's definitely Belgian-y.
Yep.
It's almost like sparkling wine-esque.
Yep.
You know, you're right, man. And I can taste the apricot. I can taste the apricot. It's really good. It's so different.
Yeah, you can kind of extrapolate all kinds of things
Yeah,
from it.
it's
You think
so
about it, and you're like, okay,
different.
I'll get a little bit of spice, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of, and
Yeah, the
it's-
pepper. As soon as you said, I didn't. Yeah. As soon
you're
as
right.
you said it,
you're
I'm like,
you're
I
right.
get the pepper.
You're absolutely correct. Man, it's good.
That's outstanding. That is a delicious beer. That is a
Cheers.
medal well earned.
So tell me a little bit about your history before beer. We were talking a little bit before. You were in a band.
Yeah, I did a lot of music stuff pretty much since elementary, middle school. I've been singing and playing guitar and stuff like that. So
Is it that artistic part you think one of the reasons why you're in this kind of industry? Because you get to be artistic?
I don't get to be so artistic as far as the beer making,
But for
stuff here
selling
goes.
and marketing and stuff,
But
right?
definitely, yeah, I get to help out and get out there and get our beer into the world, and finding new and fun ways to do that is definitely a part of my job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that for sure. But the music thing, it was just something that kind of became my passion out of nowhere, and it turns out there's a lot of it back in the family, before my parents, and they both said, well, we can't do it, but you can, so here's everything you need to do.
Wow, really?
And that worked out pretty well in my favor. I still like to play guitar and sing every so often. But yeah, I was in a band for a while, and we made a CD and got it out there. And
What
had
was
some
your
fun.
band name?
It was called State of Static,
Yes.
which, static means not moving. So there you go. That's why we didn't go anywhere, apparently.
And hence,
Nice.
and hence
Nice.
he's selling beer. So talk to us a little bit about the distribution strategy for Fortside. Obviously, you've got your building right here. But you've got to get your beer out in the world. So talk a little bit about how you guys go about coming up with the distribution strategy. Where is your target? How do you try to get your beer out into the world? And how do you then try to get people to come back into your building and buy beer here as a result of that?
So when I first started here, Mike and Mark themselves were out running around selling the beer. They're brewing it, they're making it, they're kegging it, and then they're driving it around selling it to everybody. It was really young, and so they put me on sales a couple days a week, and it actually sold itself. Even back then, I'd bring some samples in and say, hey, we're just a local brewery trying to get our beer on, and at cool places that sell beer like yourselves, and they would try the beer and they'd want to bring it on. These guys just know how to make beer, and that's really what it comes down to. They were making beer in their garages for 10 years
Right.
plus before they ever even, had dreamed of doing this. And then they went to the Oktoberfest in Germany together, and, sitting around after however many 4% beers it takes to feel something, and said, hey, you know what we should do when we get back? Let's start a brewery. And they did. And luckily I got to jump on board with them shortly after they decided that. And, from that point, it's grown. And, me and another sales guy, Bryce, he kicks a lot of butt, and we kind of divide up our territories and get out there and bring out the beer to everybody that's enjoying it, which has not very many people that aren't so far.
No, I get it, man. We had Joe from Old Town on the podcast, and I'd like to ask him, do you think there's ever a point where it's going to be just overly saturated of these small breweries, or do you think it's going to be the culture and to expect more of them?
I think it's probably a little bit of both of that. There's so many breweries at a certain point to where some of them aren't cutting it anymore, and the bubble's gonna pop. But the ones that are, have a big following and have people that come and show up and stand behind them and say, hey, we love this beer, they're gonna push forward and keep growing and getting stronger. And that's what I think Fortside has really done well. They've really built up from the ground and have a very strong base to push forward through, some of the weaker ones falling off. And I look forward to seeing, how far we can get.
Yeah, that's exactly what Joe said, man.
Yep.
He's like, you're going to have your people who are loyal to you. And I remember he was like torn about the smaller guys getting bought out by the big guys. And he goes, as a consumer, isn't that kind of what you want from your locally? You're torn because it's like, yeah, I want to see Fortside do well because they're one of my favorites. But then there's that other part, but I want them to be small enough so they don't sell out to the big guys. Do you ever have any, and I know you're not in that position really, but do you ever get in that mode like, man, it would be kind of cool to have one of the big guys come in and be like, here's a blank check for X amount?
No, I really don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that they're, so proud of their product that they would want to be the one standing behind it all the way through.
I agree.
I don't think at any point they would say, you know what, our brand's gotten bigger than us, and here you go. I think that's one nice thing that I've really loved about this company is that, I get to talk to the owners and the brewers every single day and be a part of the process. And so does, everybody here locally. They get to put their word in and say, hey, we love that orange whip. Don't take that away from us. And,
Agreed.
They get to put that out there in the world. And
Agreed.
And we hear it and deliver.
Now, it seems like another thing that Joe had mentioned was that getting people in and having other things for them, pizza.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. And keeping on top of things and, not just staying with the status quo and having the same beer all the time and creating a new experience for people.
Yeah. And, when it comes down to it, people are here to see you. People are coming here because they feel at home. They feel you have that Cheers feeling here. Yeah. Like you're just welcome. I mean, even with the kids here.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at who's here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really
the kids
is.
are welcome. The dogs are welcome.
I know. It's like a family.
It's a very welcome kind of place.
And you have the cabin feel, so you feel. I mean, it's just. You feel at home here.
And it's funny, I spent a lot of time behind a bar, before I ever worked here. And I was just talking to Troy back there behind the bar, beer tending right now, about how you never really have issues with people at here anyway, at a brewery. They show up with a lot more respect. They're not going to show up demanding things and feeling ousted because they have to stand in line or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're a part of it, and they appreciate it, and they're happy to be here.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
And that's... that's
Community.
part of
it. It is a sense of community. Knope got it.
definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
You guys are doing an amazing job. It's one of our favorite places to come.
100%.
And we thank you for having us tonight. You guys have been really generous. Ben, it's time.
All right. Elliott, are you ready? So every episode, each guest gets a final question.
All right.
So here is your final question.
Final question.
You are in a rock and roll band.
What?
And no, you are.
Okay.
This is the question. This is my question.
Hypothetical question.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
my
I
question.
see.
You are in a rock and roll band, and you get to open for any band ever. Which band are you going to open up for?
Any band ever. No
Ever.
longer even, maybe.
It doesn't matter. Yes.
Dang,
It could
all
be
right.
beef. It could
Now
be
that's-
beef oven.
I mean, immediately I'm thinking like Grateful Dead, Beatles. I'm thinking all these. Dang.
And why?
Jimi Hendrix. Oof. I got to say Sublime. Sublime is probably one of my favorite
I'm
all-time
sorry.
bands.
I hate to cut you off. Grateful Dead.
Right?
Beatles.
Beatles, Jimi Hendrix.
Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with
Sublime.
Yeah.
Why?
Where the hell did that come from, bro?
Because Bradley Noel is, I think, one of the most original musicians of all time. He was able to meld rock and hip hop and punk and all these things, push them together. And he had, just one of the most distinguished voices of all times. And, a lot of people, you can go up and say, hey, do you like Sublime? They're like, yeah, I don't know who that is. But you say, Lovin' Is What I Got. And then they're like, oh, yeah, totally, I know what that is.
Yeah,
and,
true.
it's been my favorite since I was really young. And that's still today my favorite song. If I had a guitar here, I'd pick it up and play you some Sublime.
And for the record, I was not hating because I think Sublime is a
I'm with
fantastic
you.
band. I
Yeah.
think
It's a big leap from the Beatles.
But you did start that way, man. You were like,
They're no Jimi Hendrix. I get that.
Where is this going?
No, I just saw him actually recently, Sublime with Rome, which obviously is Brad Noel's been passed away since 95 or so, 96. But Rome, he crushes it. He sings really well, just like him. He plays guitar, gets all the solos in there, and he's a lot more sober than Brad ever was. So he's not missing anything.
Yeah.
Well, my man, loving is what you got here in this place, and we thank you so much for spending the time with us. Thanks for having us. It's a great place, man.
If people want to know more about Fortside, how do they find you guys?
Oh, we are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. You can come visit us here at the brewery in the tasting room. We are open Tuesday through Sunday, and we have delicious beer and food available for you.
And what's that address?
That is 2200 Northeast Andreessen, number B.
Yes,
which,
sir. Right
B
in the
is
heart
not
of
a number.
Vancouver. If you want great beer and great food, which we'll
And
hear
great
about
company.
in just a few minutes, and great company, come check these guys out. They're the real deal for sure.
Cheers, guys.
Hey,
Thank you.
thanks, man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Stay tuned for more Business Over Beer. Our interview with Nichole Davidson of Taco Spaceship is coming up next.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another same episode of the second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest, just under Sasquatch. The Business Over Beer podcast. I am your co-host, Ben Surratt. Alongside me, still is the Terra Power, Mr. Jonathan Kaler.
Ben, we had so much fun the first time. We just had to do it again.
We had to do it again.
So I was good, and of course your son just can't even help himself. So at least have the decency to talk into the mic, my man. Because he kind of looks like Canope when I tell Canope to ask a question.
I was just going to say, he's still here still.
I'm still here, just hanging out.
Canope, I was worried about you today because we technically had 2 guests, 5 of us, but we only have 4 mics.
Correct.
So I was really concerned that you may not have a mic today. But fortunately for you, we figured out a way to make it happen.
Fortunately for you.
And fortunately for our guest, who we have been promoting, touting, talking about for the better part of maybe the last 6 weeks, we're finally here. Our bellies are full of tacos, and we are so glad that you are on the program. Nichole Davidson, welcome to Business Over Beer.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Are you nervous?
Completely.
You should be.
So
we are going to just absolutely.
Don't be nervous. It's a Friday night at Fortside, and we're just hanging out talking. That's all.
My first question is, how come you're not a professional photographer?
Well, technically, I am a professional photographer.
What?
People pay me to take pictures of them quite often.
What? I didn't know that. Are you serious? Really?
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
I do that on the side. You got to have a side gig.
You do have it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. How long have you been doing that for?
Since probably 2009, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. On and off.
Dude, I am like lost on that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you
if
had
you
to
guys
know
need
something.
family
You asked
photos
the
for the
question.
holidays,
Well, I knew she
hook
took
me up.
really great pictures,
Yeah.
but that's only because of Instagram. I'm like, the filters can make it look good, but you're really, really, really good.
Well, thank
You have that eye.
Thank you.
Where did you learn that from? Just yourself?
Napa Valley Community College, actually.
All right. Nice.
Yep.
How about the experiences overseas?
The experiences overseas were completely different. I did less professional photography over there because I wanted to shoot more of the local people.
But you did still take...
Right. I took a lot of pictures. And those pictures ended up being something that I sold professionally because they were more interesting than taking pictures of people.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, I know this is going to be a big leap. You're still taking pictures, but what got you into tacos? And why tacos?
Well,
Don't say why not tacos.
Mike asked me to come and help work on the food truck when there was nobody doing the food truck. And it was actually Mike's idea to do tacos. And we just started sitting around talking about it one day, and it ended up being like, hey, we should do fusion tacos. So
back up. So
Okay.
tell us about that first interaction with you and Mike and talking about tacos.
I'm going to ask you to even go back a step further. How do you know Mike and the ownership of Fortside?
So I started coming to Fortside as soon as I moved back from overseas. This was right close to where I lived when I first got back. And just kind of started getting to know everybody. And then when I quit my job as the 911 dispatcher, I opened a little biscuit company, and I started providing biscuits and catering different things for some of the breweries in the local area. And Mike was gracious enough to carry biscuits here in the tap room as snacks for people when they didn't have food for a little while. And then, I don't know, just going to all of the beer fests and events and pouring beer for other people just kind of ended up, I got to know them a little bit. And then when there was no food truck and they decided to do a new food truck, they were like, hey, let's give her a shot. So
when did they buy the food truck? Has the food truck always been out there, or did they buy the food truck recently?
As far as I know, that truck's been there forever. But there was a couple people in there before me. I know Stan Jensen, the Koo Food dude, was there for a little bit. And Mad Dog Gourmet Hot Dog, they did a really good job for a while, but it just didn't work out for them to still be there. And then now me.
And
I'm
so talk a little bit about that relationship. So the food truck is owned by Fortside.
Yes.
And you're an employee of Fortside.
And I work for Fortside.
But you run the taco stand, the taco truck.
Yep.
The truck, when it was Mad Dogs and when it was the one before that, was it the same kind of setup?
No. They brought in their food each week and served it. Whereas I come in each week and we talk about the menu and they're like, yeah, go with it. And then, so, yeah. I have creative freedom out there.
So they were leasing the space essentially.
I would say that's probably the best way to explain it is they leased it.
But now you're part of the Fortside family. So you're part of Fortside and running the truck.
Right. And this is honestly the greatest group of people I've ever worked with. Everyone here is amazing.
So where does this taco genius come from? I mean, do you have a formal training, a chef's training or anything?
I did go to culinary school in Napa. And I took some extra classes when I lived overseas in London. Every country I lived in, I tried to find, actually, to be honest, old women who would teach me old world food from their country and learned how to make different things like that. And as often as I can, I incorporate that into the menu here.
How many countries have you lived in?
Including in America, I've lived in 5.
Out of those 5, which one do you miss the most?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Most definitely.
How did you end up in Turkey?
Well, I worked a job with DOD that took me to Turkey, and I got to work and live amongst the people there. And
the DOD, the Department of Defense.
Department of Defense, yeah.
How'd you end up with the Department of Defense?
So when I went to school in Napa, I somehow came up with 7 degrees, and one of those degrees was in Homeland Security. And
There's a lot of shit going on in Napa. There's a lot of stuff going on.
7 degrees?
Yeah, I do. I have 7 different...
Name them all.
Name all of them right now?
Name all of them right now. Wow.
I have photography, culinary, crime scene investigation, evidence technician, criminal justice, social behavior science, counterterrorism.
You're like Jack Bauer.
Not really. It sounds way better than it is. It just ended up that all of the classes that I took at the same time, at the end of my time there, produced a bunch of degrees that really added up to not much of anything except for that I got to travel for about 12 years.
Which is actually
was really fun because my kids got to grow up overseas and we got to do a lot of fun stuff and they got to see a lot of things and it was great.
Don't sell yourself short there.
See what she did is she went to college, studied her ass off, and got a bunch of degrees, and then drank beer. I went to college and drank a whole bunch of beer and didn't study very much, and hence I have a job as a podcast host.
And now you're a co-host.
The award-losing second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest. But I digress. So tell us about your time in Turkey. Tell us about that job that you got hired for, and what did you actually do for the Department of Defense in Turkey?
Well, most of what I did in Turkey was run a ministry for airmen and young families that had struggles with moving to another country, especially a third world country, or they got there and they got in trouble, or they didn't know how to react to living amongst a culture of people like that. Or they would come down, a lot of the guys that would deploy downrange to more dangerous places would come back to Turkey for respite before they went home. And I counseled them PTSD-wise. And then I just lived among the culture and got to know the Turkish people and see what they were really like. And that was amazing. So
I mean, that is such an awesome job.
It really is.
It was
I'd
amazing.
never heard of. And most people probably don't even know exist. But, I mean, thank you so much for all of that.
It was
work that
really,
you did.
really
I mean,
fun.
That is a really great job. And so what was it about Turkey that you liked so much as a place to live?
The people that are there are very kind and very hospitable and just seemingly have no judgment. They just take everyone in and take care of them. And so you can just learn a lot about a life perspective from a culture that sometimes in America we look at as foreign or strange or different, like we don't understand them. But my experience with them is that they're just very welcoming. They want to teach you everything. They want you to know who they are. They want you to know what their country is like, their history, all of it.
What did you learn?
What did I learn?
Like in the big picture, in the macro sense of everything. Not like little things, but like in general, like I learned this from being in Turkey. This one thing.
In probably the decade that I spent overseas, what I learned overall the most is that you have to travel to really understand people.
Oh, yeah.
We can live in America and make judgments about what we think other countries are like, but you got to go there and spend time with people to really understand, what it is. Their entire country and way of life is built on entrepreneurship and family. People don't go into nursing homes or daycares there. Their family, they just take care of each other. It's all small business. They frown upon big business. They look out for each other. Their life is about building, this is what I know how to do, and this is how to make money on it to support my family. And I feel like our country can sometimes keep you from doing that. They make it really hard to be a small business owner here, to be honest with you. So
I can't tell you how much I admire you for saying that, because you're 100% correct on that. And the fact that you're doing what you're doing and doing what you love, and you have kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
3, and they're seeing you do this, whether or not you believe it or not. It's making an impression. But this is called business over beer.
Dude, I'm thirsty.
Yeah, I am thirsty,
and I am stoked about the beer that she has brought. I'm not even going to ask if you brought beer because we're in a brewery, and that's a stupid question.
We have beer.
What beer did you bring for us, and why did you bring that beer?
Milwaukee's Best Ice. It was all I could afford.
The Beast, and it's not even the Beast. It is Beast Ice. So it is newly offered at Fortside. It is It's on special this week.
By request from Rihanna.
Three for $1.
$1 is about what it's worth.
Yeah, that's good. And we're gonna get a 6-pack for Rihanna because we know that Beast Ice is part of her degenerative palate syndrome. Yeah.
My plan was actually to go buy some really bad crap beer and be like, this is what got started me on beer when I was 15. But I ran out of time today. And so
what did you bring?
For that, we're thankful. What did you actually bring?
So I brought Orange Whip because Orange Whip is actually not only the flagship beer here, one of the flagship beers here, but it was my flagship beer when I first moved home. It was one of the very first ones that I drank. It is my most checked in beer on Untapped overall. And it's probably one of my favorites ever.
All right.
Well, can we open it?
Crack it open
Yes.
and let's get to pouring.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm drinking from the can because
That's okay.
that is my old school.
That's
Like,
okay.
Hey,
That's what
there's
we
nothing
do.
wrong with old school.
It's hard to drink from a crowler. You have to use both hands or it slips. I'm just going to give you that tip early in the night.
Thank
Well, now-
you.
Is it later in the night when it slips, or
I don't
from
know.
the get-go?
Well, now I'm sad you didn't bring a crowler. We could have all taken
We could have all tried.
slugs off of the big old crowler. That would have been awesome.
So the thing about Orange
I got a
Whip,
tab open though.
the thing about Orange Whip that we've had on the show a couple times already.
I mean, it's a staple in all of our lives.
Dude, I mean,
it's such a
it's-
good beer.
It's so solid. Yeah, it's citrusy, but
I mean, I brought this home. My wife had never had. This was fairly recently. She goes, Orange Whip? She was worried that it was going to be like a creamsicle. And I said, oh, no. It's orangey, and it's juicy, and it's fruity, but it's bitter.
It's
and
pretty
it's
juicy for a
refreshing.
beer that doesn't actually technically have any juice in it.
Oh,
I think Elliott had it perfectly correct. It's like those people who aren't the hazy fans, but yet like the IPAs, and the hazy fans who aren't necessarily IPA people, that the bitterness, this is the perfect balance.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it goes great with cheeseburger tacos.
Yeah. The cheeseburger taco was really actually a lot of fun this week. I really like that taco.
We'll talk about that. So you guys have a meeting each week to talk about the menu. Is that right?
Well, we
Ish.
meet each week to talk about business, but the menu is kind of like, for the most part, if I ask for suggestions, they'll give them to me, but I have pretty good creative freedom with what I want to do. The cheeseburger taco was like, hey, you know what we should do this week? We should try a cheeseburger taco. And they were like, yes, just do it. Like, that's pretty much the conversation.
So what was the
So-
inspiration? Did you just like think about it in the shower one morning, or were you at McDonald's and were like, dude, I love this cheeseburger, but I would much rather it be on a tortilla instead of in a bun?
No, we hadn't done anything with ground beef this entire time. I opened in June, and I was like, I don't want to just do a plain ground beef, dumb old, same old taco, but a cheeseburger taco could be kind of fun. And it gave me a chance to make burger sauce. So, hey, that's what we
You
did.
made that like from scratch?
Yeah, from scratch.
They were delicious.
Sister, that
Yeah.
was flippin'
Everything
delicious.
on the taco truck is made from scratch. Tonight, even the mole came from scratch.
So what
I
are some
had that
other
too.
tacos that you've created? And, where did you get the inspiration from?
Well, the Korean beef, the bulgogi taco, is pretty popular. A lot of people ask for that one. That was definitely something where the first week we were open, Mike was like, hey, I made tacos out of bulgogi. You should try that. So that's been a popular one. The Cajun chicken and the Cajun cauliflower people ask for, so that one's a repeat offender.
I think that's
quite a
what
bit.
my wife had tonight.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, the Cajun cauliflower is really good.
Now, you had a doner kebab.
I did
One,
a
did you
doner
not?
kebab taco.
How did that
You
turn out?
did.
I couldn't make it.
It
I gotta
was
try
amazing. It tasted
Oh.
it tasted like a doner. So
Oh, man.
it was
For
pretty
those who
good.
don't have the German background, what is it?
Turkish.
What's it? Okay,
Turkish. So the closest thing you would get to it in America would be like a euro,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, gyro. But really, it's a
No,
euro.
it's a euro. Gyro's a thing you go around, right?
The doner taco was good. We sold. I don't know, with chicken you can't go wrong. Everybody will order chicken. I don't know if I could put anything on chicken that people wouldn't order, but to me it was pretty straight up.
Yeah.
Tasted like a doner. And
You
I'll
have to
do
let
that
me
one
know.
again.
You have to let me know next time.
Next time
Yeah,
I'll just do it
seriously.
ahead
I
of
will be
time.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely do that one
Yeah.
again. So that was good.
What's the biggest challenge you have right
Here?
now? Right here. Yeah.
I do worry about running out of the creativity aspect of things because there's only so many things you can put into a taco and have it be really good with that before it gets like really weird.
My father-in-law would tell you different because he can wake up in the morning, take whatever leftovers in the refrigerator, wrap it in a tortilla, and boom. He loves it every damn time.
Yeah, I've made some pretty weird breakfast burritos for my kids over the years, so I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I don't feel right now, maybe because I'm new and it's only been since June, I don't feel like there's any challenges. Probably mainly as we grow, being able to produce enough out of the little trailer might be a challenge, but there's ways to overcome that as we get bigger and stuff like that. So letting everyone know we're here. It's still pretty new.
So how are you trying to do that? What is your marketing tactics, and how has that been going for
A
you?
lot of social media and a lot of talking.
What do you think about growing? Like, when you say growing, do you mean just growing like the truck or the cart, or do you want to like go to a different location and start going to like festivals, like beer fest, stuff like that?
No, I'm sure there will be times when we'll need to be a guest at different festivals, mainly because of Fortside. But I don't ever see myself not working with Fortside or for Fortside at
No,
some
I
point.
get that part, but
Right.
like, do you guys come together and be like, you know what? Let's try this and expand.
For sure. Yeah.
So what kind of things?
The business part of things is always what we're talking about. Opening more days, being available for always making sure there's food in the tap room. Because when there's food in the tap room sales are good and food sales are good.
People stay.
Right. It's a really good partnership. It's a way for both of us to be like, hey, this is what we have.
So is that one of the things you talk about, like staying open longer, or
Opening more days, more hours.
days?
And eventually we will. But it's better to start out with a smaller schedule and grow than to start out with a wide open schedule and have to scale back.
Mm-hmm.
Because then people are like, hey, we thought you were here on Tuesday and now you're not. When eventually if we grow into Tuesday, that's a good thing. Does that make sense?
Can I be the opposition of that?
Sure.
Why not be open Monday through Sunday or Monday through Saturday?
Because the tap room is not open on Monday.
Why isn't the tap room open that much?
Well, Monday's the only day the tap room's closed.
So they're open Tuesdays, but you're not here Tuesdays.
Right. That's just one of those things we're kind of working on right now. We got to open Wednesdays and then grow into Tuesdays. So
Yeah, I get it.
yeah.
This might,
Yeah.
I just want to know, like,
No,
why?
these are conversations that we have where we're just trying to make sure that we do it at the right time to make sure that it benefits both of us.
No, I totally
yeah.
understand. I get it.
Well, the upside is you're going through this period now where you're figuring out what works and what
Right.
people like. And so you've got a really good sense now of what an expanded menu could potentially look like. So that's
Right.
certainly an upside. And there's a cost, obviously, of opening more days, opening more hours.
Yeah, because with a small
Nichole,
food cart-
Nichole can't do it every, open to close every
Well,
single
and
day
there's
of the
a couple
week.
other challenges too. Washington State Health requires that we don't carry hot food to the next day because I'm technically a mobile trailer. So I can only prepare today what I know I'm going to serve today. So we have to make sure that the days that we're going to continue to open, to avoid having waste, we have to make sure that we can always kind of predict what we're going to do and what we can sell and stuff like that. And this week we had a trial run on burritos for a small event on Monday. Because even though the tap room isn't open on Monday, you can rent this space out and have the taco truck cater your space on Mondays. So we have employee appreciation parties and holiday parties and things here in this space on Mondays. And
That's a great
this
idea.
week,
Yeah.
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
this
didn't know
week,
I did not know that.
yeah, we had a party for Great Western Malt, and we provided Thai coconut curry burritos that were phenomenal. So now we're like, hey, maybe we should expand burritos and add that to the tacos on the truck. So we're just kind of feeling things out right now and seeing where we can grow and make people happy rather than grow and be like, okay, that was dumb. I do have to say, since the podcast was here tonight, we sold out of everything on the truck. I'm completely wiped out.
Awesome.
Tell me that's a
That's
first.
fantastic.
It wasn't the first, but it was one of the top 4 busiest nights we've had. I could not have done it by myself.
Boom.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So every episode, my lovely wife, she brings a mystery beer.
Okay.
And what we do is we open it and we taste it and we figure it out we try to figure out what it is. So I will let you know that this is a homebrew beer, and it is
You already know what it is, don't you?
Oh, yeah,
Homebrew
yeah.
beer?
it's a homebrew
Thanks.
beer. Are you allergic to any kind of like nuts?
No.
Thank goodness. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. My goodness.
That's smooth.
Very smooth.
Really
It
smooth.
looks smoother than,
So
it tastes smoother than it looks.
It's not imperial. It's not big. It's just it's an easy drinking.
It is easy drinking.
It might even
It's
be.
like
Is anybody
it's
getting
like
oatmeal?
a-
Is it an oatmeal stout or is it a chocolate
it's
stout?
like
It might be an oatmeal stout.
Oh, you know what it is, Ben?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, okay.
It's like a Belgian.
No.
Like a
Very,
double bock.
very good. Very close.
Yeah.
It's an oatmeal, but he did use a Belgian yeast
Yeah, it's like a Belgian.
Wow.
That's why it's so mild.
with
I didn't catch
pecans.
it. So Ben, who is the he
My
in the
dad,
description?
my dad, who is a home brewer, and he's been doing it for
Very accomplished home brewer.
yeah, he's very good. It's called Angie's Dark Angel because he made it for her. It's really,
Really
good.
good.
Like
It's
I mean,
really
it's
good.
really good. Dad, you did a fantastic job.
So what's the vision? Let's end there. What is the vision for Taco Spaceship? Where do you want to be with this business in 2 years?
That's a really tough question because right now I'm just trying to make it to Friday.
So you know, like the small business owners listening right now are probably thinking the exact same thing
Right.
you are.
I would like the partnership that I have with Fortside, even though I'm an employee of. It still feels like a partnership because they're very respectful of me and what I do here. I would like for it to see the truck and the tap room grow to where we outgrow it and have no choice but to expand. That's what I want to see for them because I feel like these guys work really hard and they put everything they have into what they're doing. And I work really hard and put everything I have into what I'm doing. And I just feel like at some point that has to just explode so that everybody knows we're here and we have no choice but to expand. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? Is to always be
Of course.
growing and
course.
having more people be part of things.
Of course.
So-
Yeah. And it's difficult to man, it's easy for me to say as an outsider, this is the way I would do it, but only you know and Mike knows and Fortside and all you are the only one who knows how fast and how much you can grow.
Right. And these guys are good at business. I'm learning a lot being here. Like things that I would have never thought to think about or look at before. So, and I have a lot of friends in this community that want to see that succeed. So I get a lot of advice and a lot
And
of
the only reason why I challenge, like when I ask about the Mondays thing and all that, I'm challenging it because that's what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like people are like, yeah, they're great, but why are they open Tuesday? Why close Mondays? Like why? It's because people don't understand the reason behind why you need to be.
Well, they don't see how hard these guys are working behind the
Exactly,
scenes.
exactly.
There's times when I come in here to open the truck or to prep the truck, And it's just one guy back here just working their ass off. And there's not one person here that isn't dedicated like that. And so if anybody wants to question why we're not open on Monday, I would challenge them to be like, dude, do you see how hard we're working? All of us, everyone here.
And that's why we have you on.
Right.
Because you can explain that to them.
Right. Because seeing how hard these guys work, I've learned a lot. Like, okay, this is crazy. So, and we all have families. Like, we have things we want to do outside of work. We have time we need to spend other places. And that's why oftentimes you'll come in and our families will be here. Like, we'll just be here with our kids. My kids will be eating tacos up at the front, or it's not uncommon to see Mike's family here, or, Paul several times has had to bring the baby in to check tanks and do brewing. Like, everybody here is dedicated in that manner. So it's kind of a beautiful thing.
It shows in the products.
It shows in the products.
It
shows
does.
in the feeling that we get when we walk through the doors.
When I was asked to come alongside this project, I had no hesitation. I didn't even think, I don't want to do it. Even before I knew it was tacos. It was just, hey, come in and talk about the food truck. I already knew.
What you've done with tacos is amazing. I got to say that it's some of the best tacos I've had.
Oh.
Tacos
Hands
is
down.
fun.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying that.
Oh,
'Cause definitely put our heart in there. So.
Is there any chance you could possibly do a business over beer taco?
We could.
Like, that would be kind of cool.
I'm in. How do we make that happen?
I don't know. Like, that would be kind of cool. Like, we could create that together.
Let's do that.
Yeah, that would be
For
awesome.
sure. Let's do a business over beer taco.
Oh, I am 100% on board.
Nichole, thank you.
Benjamin.
No, thanks for having me on. This was so fun.
I'm sorry.
It's that time.
It is that time.
Again.
So, Nichole, every episode, we ask our guest one final question.
Okay.
You are in control of any country.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Doesn't matter what it is. What is the first taco that everybody must take? And it's mandatory.
I gotta say Cajun cauliflower. It is my favorite taco. That's why it reappears on the menu as often as I can make it happen. It's my favorite taco. So I would say Cajun
Sounds
cauliflower.
Like I gotta try that. I have yet
Yeah.
to try
Oh,
it.
dude, it's
I've
good.
heard it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Nichole gave it.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite taco.
It's so good.
It usually reappears every few weeks just to be like, hey, we're still badass. We're still making this taco. Like, yeah. So I would say probably Cajun cauliflower. Because I think, honestly, people are surprised at how good vegetarian tacos can be
Agreed.
when you do things that aren't fake meat. Like, you gotta, if you're a true vegetarian, you're gonna do things with vegetables.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Agreed.
Nichole, this is your chance to tell the world where to find Taco Spaceship.
Or at least all 5 people who listen to the second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest.
If you wanna learn more about
2200
Taco
Northeast Andreessen Road, outside of Fortside.
And your hours are?
Okay, so here we go. Thursday, we're open from 4 to 8 p.m. On Friday, we're open from 2 to 8 p.m. On Saturday, we're open from 1 to 8 p.m. And on Sunday, we're open from 1 to 6. Those hours will change, and when we do, we will update Facebook as well as Google Business. But for now, that's when we're here.
And if people want to find you out in the digital universe,
We are the Taco Spaceship on Facebook and Tacos from Space on Instagram.
we appreciate you spending the time
We
with
do.
us. Thank you for having us at the Taco Spaceship and feeding all of our friends. This was an amazing experience. We're customers for life, so
Awesome.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
hey, Canope, if people want to find Business Over Beer, where's the best place to find us?
bizoverbeer.com, Facebook Business Over Beer. We're on Instagram. We're on all the things, iTunes, YouTube, Podbean. What else we got?
Got to get you a script.
Yeah, you got to get There's too many Stitcher.
Our guests today were special thanks to Elliott Sutherland of Fortside and Nichole Davidson of Taco Spaceship. We drank Fortside's Orange Whip and Palisade's number 2. Angie's Mystery Beer was Ben's dad's home brew, the oatmeal stout with the pecans and the Belgian.
Angie's Dark Angel.
Angie's Dark Angel. It was delicious.
And I want to thank the Sasquatch hunters for keeping us on our toes and letting us, hey, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, we're on their heels.
Business over beer tacos. We're going to do that.
Let's do it.
That's going to be a thing.
You guys tell me what you want in there, and we'll figure it out.
Thank you, Nichole.
All right.
You were fantastic.
Good night,
Thanks for having
everyone.
me
We'll
on.
see
It
you
was
next time. Peace. See ya.
Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Our theme song is Idiocracy by Christian Leo. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer.